My name is Bongosa Mcharo, Donald Bongosa Mcharo. I am a fourth-born child of Mr. and Mrs. Frank Mcharo. Our father was called Frank Mcharo. Our mother was called Frida Mcharo. I think first of all I would like to tell a story about this area where we are, Jangara. Where we are is called Jangara. Jangara is all area from up here, paka where the secondary school is. It used to be an open space grassland. We used to call it Mlamba. Mlamba is an open space with grass and not trees. Historically, Jangara was a very important meeting place for Taita Taveta people, for Taita people. Before colonialism, Taita people used to have various activities. They used to have festivals. They used to have even wars with neighboring tribes like Sambas, Maasais, and sometimes even Kambas. Sometimes they used to meet together when there was some calamities caused either by diseases. They used to come from all over Taita to Jangara. That was before colonial time. So it was a big stronghold. Where there was an outbreak of sickness, the medicine men used to come and meet here and chat on how they could treat their people. Where there was a war with the neighbors, the elders who are the warriors used to meet here and plan how to go to Samba, how to go to Maasai land, or any issue that concerned the whole tribe. So it was a very important place. That's why it was called Izumu Jangara. Izum means to kuzuma means to celebrate. Jangara means united. Jangara vandu vose watu wote pamoja. So that's the importance of this place. When colonialism came and then Christianity followed, our great-grandfather was called Katu. Together with our grandfathers, they used to live in a place called Mwatakale up the hills. So that's where the Venkatu clan was. Venkatu is Mzee Katu and his children and the children. But when Christianity came, strangely Mzee Katu allowed his children to go to church. He allowed his children. The first one was Machocho. Machocho was our first daughter. Then he had sons called Solomon Mwakwasha, William Mwakio, Nathan Mwazo, and Andrew Mwadime. Those are brothers and a sister who were allowed by their father, Katu, to go to church. There was the other sister called Ewa. That one never joined church, so she never had any. She never had any education. These are the ones who went to church. They also had a little education. So our grandfathers, the sons of Katu, decided to leave their father in Mwatakale and came to this place to come near the church. The church was near here. So wakatoka katika mahali ambako baba alikuwa anaabudu miungu ya Kitaita, wakaja wanasema wanakuja katika nuru. They left where they said it was dark, they came to the light, where they came and built here. They came and built here in Jangara, which originally it would be a stronghold for elders wa Kitaita kufanya mambo ya Kitaita. Lakini wakati walipokuja hapa kaza kuitwa mahali kwa wamisheni. Wamisheni means those who followed Christianity. So our grandfather settled here. Mzee William had his home just above here, where my brother built later on. Mzee akaja akajenga nyumba yake hapa, alijengewa na babake na his in-laws. We had a house here ambayo ilikuwa tunaita nyumba jiko, nyumba iriko. Yes. So tulikuwa tunakaa hapa, ilikuwa nyumba around hapa ambayo ilikuwa tunaingia hapa kuota moto, kula chakula hapa, everything. Alafu hii baadaye hii ikajengwa hii, na sisi tulipokuwa tunakuwa tulikuta hii nyumba imejengwa. Ilijengwa zamani sana. So kulikuwa na room ya baba na mama hapo juu. Katikati kulikuwa na sitting room. Hii room hii ilikuwa ni ya wanaume. Na ile huko ilikuwa ni ya wasichana. So we all grew up here. Growing, we were very united together as a family. Our parents were very, very Christian. They were very religious actually. Na walikuwa naheshimika hapa katika kijiji, katika community, katika kanisa. Our father used to work with the missionaries huko Vusi. Like our mother was here. Our mother was always the treasurer of the church. She was a treasurer of the church a long time. I think even when he left, she was still a treasurer. Our father used to be a leader in the Legion in Vusi, the missionaries. He was working with the missionaries. Later on, before he became treasurer of our county council. So sisi tulizaliwa hapa sote. Our sister Valerie was born here. Our brother Eliud was born here. Our brother Evan Kafusi was born here. I was born here. Uncle ndugu Madedo wote alizaliwa hapa. Later Uncle Agri, all of us were born here. So this was our home. Now we grew up very, very close together. Tukiwa tunapendana, tukiwa tunafundishwa mambo ya dini, tukiwa tunaenda kanisani. Sisi tulikuwa na bahati ya kwenda Sunday school. Tulikuwa tunaenda Sunday school hapa, hata kuingia shuleni, tulikuwa na primary school hapa Chavia Primary School. Siku hizi inaitwa Mwabache. Chavia Primary School ilikuwa kutoka standard 1 mpaka standard 4. Standard 4 tulikuwa tunafanya mtihani ulikuwa unaitwa Common Entrance Examination. Mtu akipita anaenda intermediate. So mimi nilikuwa na bahati kukaa hapa na ndugu zangu wadogo because wale wakubwa wangu walipomaliza hapa primary school, Auntie Meklilo, dada yetu mkubwa Valerie, alienda CGS kwa standard 5 mpaka standard 8 huko Vusi akikaa boarding. Ndugu yangu mkubwa Eliud alipopita common alienda Maynard huko Mbale. Akikaa boarding pale kutoka form 1 kutoka form standard 5 mpaka standard 8. Ndugu yangu Kafusi ambaye namfuatia alipomaliza common hapa alipopita akaenda Sagala huko Ray intermediate kutoka standard 5 mpaka standard 8. Na wote walipopita kila mmoja akaenda high school. Auntie Meklilo alipita wakati ule kwenda high school kwa msichana ilikuwa si jambo rahisi. Auntie Meklilo alipita very well. She went to Alliance High School. During those days, Uncle Eliud went to Shimolatewa. Uncle K went to Mari High School. When Mari High School was formed as a high school, akaenda huko. Mimi nilipomaliza hapa kwenda intermediate tulikwenda Dembwa. About 4 or so kilometers from here. Tulikuwa natoka hapa kila siku asubuhi naenda na kwa hivyo mimi nilikuwa na bahati kukaa hapa nyumbani na mama na ndugu zangu wadogo Walter, Agri na Clarice na wengine mimi nikiwa ndio mkubwa wao sasa. Wengine wako boarding school, wakubwa zangu, mimi ndio nilikuwa hapa pamoja na mama na hao ndugu zetu wadogo. So nilikuwa na bahati kukaa hapa nyumbani kutoka standard 8. Nilipomaliza standard 8 huko Dembo ndio nikaenda Shimo la Tewa. But most of the time tulikuwa tunaishi hapa. Na tulikuwa tunaishi as in the village, very close. Sisi na our neighbors, wote wenkatu. Jioni kina babu William, babu Mwadime. Tulikuwa tunagather pamoja hapo nyuma hapo, tulikuwa tunatengeneza moto hapo. Wanatupatia stories za zamani. Tunachoma ndizi, tunachoma viazi na kupatia story. Na nyanya zetu walikuwa wanapika chakula pamoja, tuna mama wanaleta pamoja, tunakula pamoja. When you are young. Na tukiwa wadogo hapa tulikuwa tunachunga. Mzee Andrea alikuwa na mbuzi. Mzee William alikuwa na mbuzi zake, lakini ziko huko chini. Huko chini kunaitwa Materi. Wakati wa kufunga shule tulikuwa tunaenda huko na Eliud. Lakini hapa tukiwa hapa standard 1 standard 2, kila asubuhi tulikuwa standard 1 tulikuwa tunaenda shuleni in the afternoon. Asubuhi tunakwenda kuchunga, alafu tunarudi afternoon tunaenda shuleni. Tulipokwenda standard 2 tulikuwa tunachunga, asubuhi tunaenda shuleni, in the afternoon tunachunga. So tulijua kuchunga tulipokuwa wadogo. Tulikuwa tunaenda kutafuta grasshoppers. Grasshoppers was a source of protein. Tutakwenda na huko Mlambeni huko tunatafuta grasshopper, tunakuja a mob, tunachoma, tunakula na ugali. Wakati mwingine tunakwenda huko kuinda panya huko katika porini huko, tunakwenda tunaweka kwa maliva. Iliva is a stone ambayo ni flat. Unaitega hiyo, mfanya akija anashikwa. Tunakuja tunachoma. And that's how we grew up, but we grew up very, very disciplined. Our mother was a disciplinarian. She was a very meticulous lady. She was very honored. She was very honored in community as a community leader, and she always to tell one thing. Tukiwa tunagrow, one thing she always tell us: don't ever lie to me. Yani mama akisema, ukisikia amesema unasema uongo, unakula viboko. Alikuwa yule mkali, yule discipline ya mama. So we grew up actually quite disciplined. Especially sisi wadogo, hao wengine walikuwa wakubwa kidogo. Lakini sisi leo ambao tumekuwa na yeye paka huko, tulikuwa we have taught a lot of things by her. Don't ever lie. So that's why sometimes you find it very difficult to lie actually. So sometimes now you have told some lies, but then you get a conviction. Hey, I've told some lies. That is that was taught by our mother. So of course tulikuwa tunacheza michezo hapa huko. Na huko katika community kulikuwa na michezo ya community. Wakati mwingine kulikuwa na sehemu za Gondo huko Juju. Tulikuwa tunaiba hapa, tunakwenda kutazama watu wanavyocheza hizo ngoma za Kitaita. Wakati mwingine tunakwenda kama ni dance wanacheza huko katika porini huko. Tunakwenda kutazama, lakini we are never allowed, but sometimes you do what? To steal. Lakini mimi naweza kusema kuwa nilikuwa pia, I was lucky in that I communicated a lot with the communities around, even those who are not Christians. Because Bongosa, the man I was named after, was living in a place called Mururu. Mururu now was living those fellows who are real traditionalists. Yale mambo yote kienyeji walikuwa wanafanya hivi. Kama kwaika. Kwaika is when a child is growing, especially a girl, they used to be given some special teachings by those girls who are elders. Wanakwenda wanafundishwa, and baadaye kunakuwa na karamu kubwa sana. So me, whenever I used to go to Bongosa and Mururu, I used to learn a lot. I had the opportunity of learning a lot of Kitaita traditions. Kwa hivyo nilikuwa najua mambo mengi sana, maybe pengine more than my elders. Kwa sababu nilikuwa na opportunity ya kwenda kwa Bongosa ambaye ni mbasara wangu, na nikifika huko na kuna freedom ya kumix with other people kama ni kwenda kuona vile hiyo kitu inafanywa, kama ni mwari, kama ni zile ngoma zao. So I used to have quite a lot of information. Bongosa is not a common name in Taita. Bongosa, we are told the origin of it is Congo, DRC. Na tunaambia zamani kina babu zetu wa zamani walikuwa wametoka sehemu hizo. Alafu sasa hilo jina I don't know how it came, but Bongosa, I'm told the meaning is a noble person. A noble man who is honored and who is a generous and honored noble man. Huko kwa Kikongo huko. I see the other name of mine, I'm called Donald. Donald is my baptism name. I was baptized in an Anglican church on 11th of December, 1944. I was born in 1944, 28th June. So he now celebrate our my 80th birthday. But our baptism was 11th December, 1944. Hapo kanisani, St. Emmanuel Anglican Church, Mzee. And Donald is an English name. Manake is the boss. And mtu mkubwa, mtu ambaye is in charge. So go and check in the English dictionary. So Donald is a man that is yet I don't think I've been bossing anybody around. Yeah. So we grew up actually well. We grew up as Christians. We taught Christian values. Unfortunately, many of the Christian values that were being called Christian values were English traditions, really. A lot of our Christianity was, I would not really call it real Christianity. It was religion. It was the English traditions. These are English manners. They call it Ukristo. So we're being told anything that was Taita, any traditional Taita, they were primitive, they were demonic. So tulikuwa tunafundishwa kuwa hata zile our own medicine. Zamani when we were young, ukiwa kama unaumwa na tumbo, our mothers, grandfathers, you just go to the bush, get some roots or some leaves, you come and ponda, you chew, you drink, okay. Lakini in church we are being told all those medicines are demonic. So tunaambia ni mambo ya uchawi. So actually we are being brought up to think the way the English think. So our mindset, we're being tuned to be thinking like our colonial masters, so that they can teach us and also teach to rule us and teach us even to, kama tunaingia katika administration tuna rule wengine, tukifikiria vile wanafikiria. So there are a lot of things that were told that don't right. A lot of very good traditions like Taita, tulikuwa tunaambia tusizifuate kwa sababu tunaambia they are primitive. So that's how we grew. We used to play at night. Tulikuwa tunakwenda tunachoma moto mahali pengine katikati huko usiku na vijana kutoka other places tunacheza tu. There's a lot of freedom actually, lakini also there are boundaries. There are things that you play mpaka a certain time, sio just free, lakini lazima upate ruhusa kwanza. So I used to go from here to Dembwa na watoto wengine wa Chavia ambao tulipita pamoja. Chavia for some reason, because of our stubbornness. Chavia people are very stubborn. Watu wa Chavia walikuwa ni watu hawakubali mambo ya kugeni bila reason. You don't just accept anything unless you know why you're accepting it. So it was very difficult for even Chavia to accept the colonial administration. Chavia communities be among the most prominent among the Taita people. Kama ni wakati wa vita, Chavia walikuwa mstari wa mbele. Kama ni wakati kama ni mambo ya kulinda nchi, kulikuwa na mambo ya kienyeji ya kulinda. hizi Fiji ama the strongholds za Wataita zilikuwa very strong, Washabia zilikuwa very strong. So our people were very, very stubborn. When the colonials came, they found it good to get administrators from Shabia, because they thought they'll have influence over the community around. So they reached a time when Shavias decided to rebel against the chief. There's a chief who was here sometimes, who had some colonial training. He used to be a colonial administration officer, colonial askari. We used to call them askari kanga. They were being trained to punish Africans so that they can be subjected and then administered by the colonial administration. So this particular one came and started punishing Washavia. And because Washavia were very stubborn, wakauliza, kwani, why are you punishing us? So the man also was very resistant. He was a Mshavia, but he was trained by the colonialists. So sometimes he punished Shavia. People had gone to the Ngoma at night. The following day, it was kazi ya mtaa, kazi ya umoja. When they were late, they were punished. Then they met and they decided, from today, hatutaki huyo chifu. Huyo chifu ametuumiza. He has been punishing us from this day to day. He is no longer going to be our chief. And from today, huyu chief hatutaki Shabia. So they rejected the chief and they rejected the authority of the chief. So whereas the chief used to be Mshabia all the time, from colonial time, up to that time, towards the end of 1937, 38, chief akaondoa Shabia, akafa, alirogwa na Shabia akafa, alafu chifu katoka Shabia because of stubbornness. Missionaries, when they came, the first mission was built here in Shabia, the first Anglican mission. Huyo walipokuja wakafikiri wanakuja kuwanyang'anya ardhi yao na kuleta dini ambayo si yao, wakawazea wakakusanyika, wakatuma waganga, wakaenda wakawaroga huko, wakaingia na safu na nyuki, wakafukuzwa. Then they went to build a mission in Busi. Another one came and started building in Kronge. A missionary used to be called Maynard. Pia akafukuzwa na Shabia huko, akaenda kuanza missionary wapi? Maynard huko Mbale. Hii yote ni wakati ambao watu tunakuwa ndio tunasikia mambo ambayo yalikuwa yanafanyika. White fathers ambao ni Catholic walitaka kujenga mission hapo karibu na Mruru hapo. Pia Washabia wakakusanyika pamoja, wakafukuza, ndio wakaenda kujenga huko Bura. So these are things because of the stubbornness of our people, because they did not want to agree on anything unless they understand what it was. So tukaanza kuwa tunaitwa tuko nyuma, tukaanza kuambia tuko na giza. Tumekataa mission, tumekataa Munuru, tukafuata giza. Tulikataa mamlaka, tukaanza kuambia tuko nyuma. Lakini it was stubbornness, si eti watu wako nyuma. But people are, first of all, you must think, why is this coming to us? Why don't you come and explain to us? Mnakuja to impose people on us. So that's the kind of thing we grew. Even when we went to school, tulikuwa tunatoka hapa sisi wa vijana wa Kishavia, tunakwenda Dembo. Tukifika Dembo, tulikuwa tunapigana sana sisi. Tulikuwa hapa tunapigana vijana wa Busi. Tunapigana wasichana. We used to beat them, they used to fear us. When we went to Dembo, they used to fear Shavia because we are the leaders. Wale tukapa sisi mimi kama nienda ni lead from standard 5 mpaka standard 8. Wale ambao tufuatia kina Godwin walikuwa na lead, kina Uncle Walter. We always used to be top, na sisi ndio tulikuwa tunakwenda high school. Wanatuita tuko nyuma, lakini we are doing well. So we did quite well. I did my 4 years in Dembo. Tulikuwa tunatembea kila siku asubuhi, tunachukua chakula. Tunachukua chakula na bag. Tunakwenda saa 6, tunakusanya sote wa Shabia, tunakula pamoja. It was a wonderful love. Alafu hapa tulikuwa tunatembea tu, ukienda katikati hapa kulikuwa na miwa nyingi sana. Miwa, ndizi. Unakuta kama ni miwa unaingia tunakula, unaenda zako. But you not carry. You are allowed during that time to go to anybody's shamba, Kama ni miwa unakula, kama ni mhogo unatoa, kama ni ndizi zimeiva unakula pale pale, unashiba unaenda. Ukishikwa unaitwa mwizi. Lakini ukila hapo hapo, kumalizia hapo, ukiachia hapo hapo, unasema ni mtoto alikuwa amesikia njaa, alikuwa anakula chakula. So that's how we am. I went to school here, standard 1, I started in 1953. Ndio nilienda standard 1. Dembo nilienda kutoka standard 5, sorry, from 57 up to 1960, ndio nilimaliza standard 8. When we were going to do our kape, the day we were going to do our kape, mimi na ndugu yangu Austin ndio tulikuwa standard 8 wakati huo. Tulikuwa tunatembea asubuhi tuende kufanya kape, lakini siku hiyo mvua ilinyesha nyingi sana. It was very heavy. Kufika hapo kuna mtu hapo anaitwa Makarange, ulikuwa umejaa. So tuseme tufanye nini? Ni lazima tuende kufanya kape. So tukaamua mimi na ndugu yangu Austin mpaka tuvue nguo. You take off your clothes, unazifunga na mawe, unazirusha huko mbali. Alafu tunaingia. Tukaenda tunakuta walimu wamekuwa very worried because of the rains, and we are the ones who are leading. Na ilikuwa ndio tumaini yao. Tumefika pale, mwalimu atupotona, headmaster akafurahi sana. Tukaingia tukapitia, tukaota moto, tukaingia tukafanya mtihani tukapita. So that is our young period here. Alafu baada ya kape mimi nilienda Shimolateo. Nilienda Shimolateo nikiwa I was one of the youngest actually. Nikaenda pale tukafanya vizuri, lakini nilikuwa na mambo yetu madogo madogo. I used to be very active, by the way. I used to be very active in sports. I used to be active in mambo ya kawaida tu. I used to play football. I used to do athletics. Tulikuwa tunakwenda katika mashindano ya intersecondary school huko Mombasa. I used to have a lot of cups here, by the way. Nilikuwa na vikombe vingi sana hapa ambayo nilikuwa nashinda kwa ajili ya sports, high jump. Even when I went for my A-levels, nimemaliza Shimolateo, I got my first division, Cambridge High School certificate. Nikaenda Kenyatta College for my A-levels. Nilipokwenda A-levels nikakuta ndugu yangu Kafusi alikuwa anafanya kazi Airways. Ndugu yangu Austin ambaye tulikuwa pamoja, yeye hakwenda A-levels, aliingia direct high school. Mimi nilikuwa a class ahead of him. Nilipokwenda tulipomaliza form 4, yeye alienda Kabet Nakuru. Akaenda karudia class moja. So alimaliza, mimi nilipoenda form 5, yeye alianza kuingia kazi. Sasa nikakuta ndugu yangu Kafusi yuko kazini, ndugu yangu Austin yuko kazini na marafiki zetu huko. Na mimi ndio peke yangu nimeenda A-level. Sasa nikija huko Kenyatta College huko Kenyatta University right now. During the weekend nakuja hapa tunakuta starehe, yani tunakuta pesa ziko tele. Tulikuwa Shimolateo it's very disciplined, lakini huko tunakuta so we enjoyed ourselves. Nikamaliza, I didn't go to university, lakini nikapata kazi. I worked for a coffee farm for a short time. Nilikuwa nafanya kazi ya coffee testing. Unajua coffee testing, for a few months alafu ndio nikapata kazi ya East African Community. East African Community, I trained here in Kenya. In 1967, for 6 months, nikaingia kazini. 1968 November, nikapatiwa transfer kwenda Tanzania. So Tanzania nilikwenda pale nikakuta I was young and the world was there. And I arrived. Hapo ndio nika enjoy myself. I went to Tanzania in 1968 November, Dar es Salaam. And I worked for 8 years in Tanzania. I worked for 8 years. I worked in Dar es Salaam. I worked in Mbeya. I worked in Kigoma. I worked in Mbeya. And wherever I was moving almost all over Tanzania because I was doing investigation work of customs. And I got my promotions. I got a lot of promotions when I was still young in Tanzania. I stayed there for 8 years. That's when Leonard was born, when I was in Kigoma. And one thing our mother said when I was young, he told me one thing. First of all, God, don't ever lie. When I went to Tanzania, I wanted to buy myself a motorbike. Wakati huo motorbikes zilikuwa ile kubwa kubwa, si hizi za China. You have motorbikes from Britain, BSc, Triumph, big motorbikes. So I wanted to buy myself a motorbike to be ready to take her from Dar es Salaam. Hey, our mother wrote me a very, very kind letter. You know, we used to be very obedient. Even when you are working, lakini you are very obedient to your mother. Unafanya mambo mengine hapo, mambo ya starehe, mambo mengine ya kupumbavu, lakini when your mother says this. So I wrote, anything you are doing, we used to ask for permission. Nikamwandikia my mother, nikamwambia mama, nimeamua kununua pikipiki, mimi nakuja nayo kutoka Dar es Salaam mpaka nyumbani. You know what she said? She wrote me a letter very, I said, don't ever let me hear that again. Nisisikie hata siku moja eti nanunua pikipiki, kwa sababu kuna vijana wengi sana ambao wamekufa Pataita kwa sababu ya pikipiki hapo Nairobi. So I didn't buy myself a motorbike. But I went to Tanzania, I did my driving license. So baada ya kununua pikipiki, I saved myself a little money. I got a loan from the self community. I bought myself a car. I bought myself a car in 1970. I bought my driving license in 1969. I bought myself in 1970. I bought myself a small car ambayo nilikuwa nakuja nayo hapa. Siku ya kwanza kuja nayo hapa, sikwambia mtu kwa nimenunua gari. At this time I didn't ask for permission. I came with it. My mother was very excited. Then akasema, oh, sasa tuende Undanyi kumwambia. Mzee was working in Undanyi as a treasurer of county council. Mama akasema, sasa tuende Undanyi kumwonyesha babako kwa umenunua gari. So tukatoka hapa tuka drive mpaka Undanyi. Mzee alikuwa anaendesha Land Rover. Tukakuta ameenda kazini, tukapaka gari huko kwa parking yake. When mzee came for lunch, akakuta small Datsun. Hiyo Nissan imekuwa packed up. Akaja kutazama, akauliza mfanyikazi, ni nani ambaye ameweka gari kake hapa? Akaambia, oh, Bongosa ndiye amekuja hapa na mama. Oh. So he came and Bongosa ngombe gari lako aje. He was not even excited. So mama sasa wewe hata ufurahi mtoto amekuja na gari. Mzee believed in anything that was British. His Land Rover was British. Any vehicle that is British made, that to him was top class. Hii mambo mengine ya Japani, hii kwake ilikuwa si kitu. But then later on he realized kumbe magari kuna mataifa mengine yanaweza kufanya magari mazuri. So I enjoyed myself in Tanzania. One thing also mother said, so the first thing he said, don't ever lie. The second thing he told me, don't ever buy a motorcycle. The third thing he said, don't ever get married to another tribe. And that he had don't ever get married to another tribe. Mpaka uje kuwa hapa Taita. Can you imagine? So I went to Tanzania, stayed for 8 years. I didn't get married in Tanzania. And Tanzania I made many friends, and I lived well. So when I met your mother, and you were born there, then we came to take you, my friend Lesuya. So these are things that we did when young. I went to Tanzania with a suitcase, a small suitcase as a bachelor. I went and got my big promotions. I got many promotions in Tanzania because of my own hard work. I bought a car. I sold it 3 years later. I drank the money. After 8 years, I came back to Kenya with a briefcase, with a suitcase, and a fridge, and a bed. With no car. Eh? But I was working hard. I depended on nobody other than my own hard work. And one thing is, we grew up here as going to church, going to Sunday school. I even became a Sunday school when I was standard 7. I was a Sunday school teacher here. And activities here za nyumbani, mimi ndiko naongoza. Kama ni activities during Christmas, michezo ya Christmas, kama ni kuongoza Christmas carols, almost all activities I used to be the leader of the community groups here, young people here. Na mimi nilikuwa commander. My word was law. Nilikuwa kadogo sana, like my word was believed. So, and people used to respect me because of course you used to respect people also. And where are we now? Nilirudi Kenya baada ya hapo. But the thing is, I said I went to Tanzania for 8 years. I forgot about Christianity. I didn't go to church. For 8 years in Tanzania, I went to church only twice. For 8 years. Every December I used to come for leave. And the only thing I knew I must save some money for myself. Like I knew if I banked it in Tanzania, I would lose it with my friends. Because I had a lot of friends, young people, who used to enjoy ourselves. So I decided I'll open up myself a bank account here in Wundanyi, so that I save my money. During that time, Tanzania was very strict. Nyerere said nobody will be allowed to take money out. But because we're working in the South community, we were allowed to take money to our homes. So I opened my account here in Wundanyi. Every month I was saving 500 shillings. During that time, that was good money. Every month I used to save 500 shillings. At the end of the year, I'll come here and find 6,000 shillings in my bank account. Nakuja hapa to enjoy hapa. Nikitoka kama imeisha sawa, nakwenda kutafuta nyingine tena. So I came back to Kenya without any properties, without any car, without even a TV. Though I did not even know how to operate a TV because in Tanzania it was banned. So when I came to Kenya, I found a lot of young people, my age mates, wana magari, wengine wamenunua nyumba, wengine wana TV. Me, I don't even know how to operate a TV. I come with my socialism. Tanzania was a socialist country. Nimekuja nimetoka kijiji cha ujamaa huko, nimekutana na ujamaa. So nikaja nikakuta marafiki zangu wana nyumba, wana magari, so I used to go with my friends to Kiambu, to Murang'a, ambao tulikuwa tunafanya kazi. You go and find somebody who's a junior officer, unakuta ana nyumba kubwa, ana ng'ombe, ana kahawa. Say, how did you manage this? Say, it's ordinary. How about you? I mean, the only thing I had my little shirts from Tanzania, hata suti sijui nafanya vipi, TV sijui na cooperative vipi. And then I started learning. I started learning that in life, even if you save, you must do some investment. You must know how to save money and keep something for yourself. Alafu I came back to Nairobi in 1976. I went to Tanzania in 1968, I came back in 1976. So kunakaa Nairobi dogo, I was posted to Garissa. Garissa huko mwisho kabisa, kwa nikamwambia nenda kakae huko mpaka ujamaa uishe, alafu rudi hapo kuna makabaila hapo. So when I went to Garissa, I started saving. Because there we had a lot of safaris. You go on safari, I used to save almost all my salaries. That's when I started saving for my future. That is when I knew I was going to build myself a house, 1978 and 1976. So I decided I would start looking for stones for building my house. I was not married. I did not know when I was going to get married, but I knew I was going to build myself a house. I did not know where. So I gave somebody a contract to break some stones huko mahali tunaitwa Wafu, huko karibu na Teri juu. I gave somebody to contract to build stones, to break stones for me, hardcore. There are huge mounds and mounds of during those days. Watasema sasa huyu kijana wa mcharo anataka kufanya na mawe yote haya. But I knew I was going to build myself a good house, yet I did not know where. So nikarundika mawe. 1968, I got myself transferred to Mombasa to be in charge of investigation office in Mombasa. A senior officer, bado bachelor. Then I met your mother in Nairobi. When I was in Nairobi, I met her there. When I was Garissa, I knew her. When I came to Mombasa, then we decided that we were going to get married. Hapo tujajenga nyumba. So we wedded in December 1978 after being transferred to Mombasa. Meanwhile, I started inquiring where can I build myself a house. So I wedded in December here kanisani hapa juu, na mke wangu nikamleta hapa. Hii nyumba hii ilijengwa na Mzee Mcharo for his son Eliud, but the money belonged to Uncle Eliud. Uncle Eliud was working as a teacher. He got a scholarship to go to university in Beirut, Lebanon. And his salary, he diverted to Mzee's account. Kama Mzee, hii pesa yangu, mimi niko hapa kwa sababu nalipia na serikali, mshahara wangu unijengee nyumba. That was 1970s. It was quite early. So this house was built by Mzee with Uncle Eliud's money for himself, for him. Then Uncle Eliud got married. He came here with his wife. When Uncle K got married, he came here with his wife. When I got married, I came here with my wife. When Uncle Madedo got married, he came here with his wife. When Uncle Sammy got married, he came here with, all of us were here with our wives in this small house here.
At the same time?
Yes. We all lived here with our wives. That's how we managed to control them. And Mima was here, she was the head girl of all our wives here, and they respected her. Then at that time our mother died. Our mother died when I was in Dar es Salaam. After when I was in Kigoma. In 1972, our younger brother called Agri Mwazo, the one who followed our Madedo, he died in 1972 in Nairobi when I was in Mbeya. So when I was coming for the funeral, I was driving from Mbeya to come for the funeral of my brother. About 100 kilometers from Mwanza, where I was working, and Mwanza is many kilometers from here. The windscreen of my vehicle got broken. In the evening, I left Mwanza. I was driving alone, and I drove without a windscreen from that place called Nzega. Nzega ni mbali sana kutoka huko. I drove all the way huku usiku Singida, Babati huko ndani kwa Mang'atu kwa majambazi wengi huko. Usiku mpaka Arusha mpaka Moshi. Alone, without a windscreen, I'm coming for my brother's funeral. Moshi ndio nikakutana na Uncle Joseph, my father young brother used to work for railways. Hapo ndio nikakutana, ndio nikapata a plastic windscreen. Then nikaja hapa nikakuta my brother had been buried. Nikalia sana, na watu wakanililia sana because of the condition I was. But it was an act of, I think it was an act of bravery. That my brother died, I have to go. And I had nobody to escort me, I had to go come myself. Fortunately, the car was very good in condition. The following year, I had been transferred from Kigoma from Mwanza to Kigoma. My mother died when I was there. So I came, by that time, I sold my car in Kigoma. Then I came by train. I came by train from Kigoma mpaka Dodoma. Dodoma nikaingia basi mpaka Arusha, basi nikarusha pengine mpaka Moshi mpaka Mwatate, alafu nikapanda nikapanda foot. When I arrived there, my mother was buried. So my brother and my mother died when they died when I was in Tanzania. So our wives came here. Some of our children were born, Leonard was young, little like that. Frida was born in Mombasa. But we used to come, during the holidays, tunakuwa tutakuja kutu hapa. Lakini so I was in Mombasa and nikaanza kununua material for building my house. That time then we had agreed with Uncle Eliud. Where we are built, originally was Uncle Baba Eliud's home, or sort of his shamba. So I wanted to build up there in Msiduni. Then Uncle Eliud said, no, why? This is a better place than anywhere. Come and build here. So ndio tukaja kujenga nyumba. We started building this house in 1984. Tukamaliza, tuliingia 1987. So baada ya kumaliza hii nyumba ndio tukahama hapa sasa. So can you imagine a house with how many families? Eliud and his wife and his children, Bongosa and his wife and his children, Kafusi's wife and children, Madedo's wife, Mwasingo. Five married people with women from different homes.
No disagreements between the women. No quarreling, no fighting, no disagreements.
No, amen. You see, those days fathers were fathers, men were men, and their wives were proud of it. So after that, then we started. I built my house. I left. Uncle K came and built his. Uncle Walter built his. Yeah. So that's basically what happened. So we thank God. And then even our children grew up. We grew up together. These ones when they were growing, during some holidays, everybody would come to the house in Margongo. They would all play together. Uncle Meklilo's children, Uncle Lilo's children, Uncle K's, my children. All of our children would come. One holiday they will find them here, another holiday you find them there. So they grew up very, very close. Kama vile nyinyi mnavyokuwa mkijuana, hao ndio walikuwa wanakuwa pamoja wakijuana na their cousin. So it is something to be proud of, that the foundation that our parents gave us. And our father was telling us, the mother, where our father came from, the mother died when they were very young. Wawachari is our father's mother. She died when our father was very young and Mzee was very young. So they were brought up by the stepmother. But they did not grow up very happy. Sometimes they used to be punished by Mzee himself, the father. So when Mzee Mcharo was growing up, he told us, when he got married, they were praying to God that God will give them children. God will give them children who will fear God. Watoto ambao watajua Mungu na kuogopa Mungu. Watoto ambao watakuwa wanajiheshimu wenyewe. Watoto ambao watakuwa na elimu kuwashinda wao. Imagine, my father say anaombea watoto wake wakuwe, Mungu awapatie watoto, wawe watoto ambao wanamcha Mungu, wawe na watoto ambao wameelimika kushinda mzee mwenyewe na mke wake. And God granted him. We all went to high school. We all more educated than Mzee. But Mzee himself improved himself. His life was top class. You didn't see him. He was a great man. So we thank God for this. Na sisi tumekuwa pamoja tukipendana, tumekuwa pamoja, Mungu ametubariki tukifanya kazi kubwa kubwa. Uncle Eliud was a high school teacher. He was an MP. He is respected in society. Uncle K was one of the senior people in income tax and in the treasury. I was a senior officer in the Ministry of Finance, Custom Department. I used to be an assistant commissioner in charge of investigation, Kenya Customs. So it was good, but I retired early. I retired at 50. Nikaanza kufanya mambo yangu mwenyewe. And from the time I retired, I've been at home. have been Mwatate. Nimekuwa nikifanya mambo ya conservation.
Sorry, but before you get there, you talked about starting to invest on the house. What are the investments?
Okay. Yeah, another thing I forgot to tell you is I always wanted to invest in things. First of all, I told you when I started building my house, first of all I started investing, I started saving some money. In 1982, I bought a matatu. I got a small loan, I got some money, and I bought a matatu. I bought a new matatu. You remember? Yes. Yeah. I bought a matatu to serve Mombasa to Undani. And I was working in Nairobi. I had a lot of interest investment. The problem is I did not know how to run my own investment. So I bought a matatu, I gave it to a driver and a conductor, and I was in Nairobi. I was trusting that it would give me the money, and the matatu did not do very well. After several years, it collapsed. And then later on, I bought a house in Nairobi through a loan from a bank in Nairobi. I had a lot of connection. In my job, I had a lot of connections with big business people in Nairobi during those days. So it was fairly easy for me to access financial institutions. I bought a house at Kileleshwa. I can't remember when they are that one. Anyway, somewhere. And then later on, in Mwatate, where we are now, those businesses used to be owned by an Asian called Fajal Jamal. Yeah. It is a very interesting story that I hope to give it tomorrow, why our attachment to where we are. The owner of that property was previously called Fajal Jamal. Fajal Jamal started that business in early 19th century, 19th or 20th century? 20th century. When the railways were being built, Voi, Taveta railways, the Asians followed building businesses along the railway line. So the businesses in Voi, Mwatate, the first business was built by a person called Fajal Jamal. Pale ambako tuko, it was built much later, it was built in 1958. Where the church is, there will be a big mabati house. That was the original shop ya Fajal. And Fajal used to be the supplier of provision from the whole of Taita, Mwatate sub-county and Bunani sub-county up to Taveta. From that mabati house which was there, from where the church is now. And almost all the people from here used to go to Mwatate. There were no shops up here. So people used to go to Mwatate to buy their needs, the food, vitu vyao kila vya kawaida vya nyumbani. Fajal was a very rich man. So when we were born, when we are young, I think I may tell that story. When I was born in 1944, as I said, in 1945, just when the war was ending, there was a lot of famine. Kulikuwa njaa kubwa sana Taita. I believe a lot of in Kenya. So people had no food because of drought. So they used to go to Fajal Jamal to buy their food. Chakula na kila kitu. Fajal Jamal wakati watu walikuwa wanavuna chakula walikuwa wanapeleka kuuza kwa Fajal, kama ni mahindi, kama ni pilipili, kama ni mbonu, and all supplies. Kila kitu ambacho kilikuwa kinakuzwa na Wataita walikuwa wanauza kwa Fajali. So walikuwa wanapenda Washavia sana. Fajali alikuwa anapenda Washavia because walikuwa wanamuuzia vitu na hawana kwenda kununua kwake. So when I was young, 1945 watu wakiwa wanakwenda kununua vitu Mwatate kutoka Kuchavia, my mother used to carry me on her back. I told the story. My mother used to carry me on her back with a group of Chavia women. So tunakwenda huko. Fajal was a very compassionate man. Alikuwa anaonea huruma sana kina mama ambao wako na watoto. So alikuwa anasema kila wale kina mama ambao kuna watoto, kuna line kubwa inakuwa inapigwa, big line. Ili mnaingia kwa line ile first come first serve. Lakini anasema wale kina mama ambao kuna watoto wapatie chakula kwanza, wanunue unga wao, kama ni unga, kama ni mahindi, alafu wanaenda. So my mother gave me as a sacrifice. My mother, because alikuwa anapendwa sana na watu, na yeye alikuwa anapenda na watu, ananipeleka mimi, anakuja anibebe mgongo, anakwenda anapata chakula chake. Akirudi huko nyuma ananipatia mama mwingine wa Kichavia. Anapata chakula, huyo anarudi tena ananipatia. So mimi nilikuwa nalisha watu. Yeah. I used to be a vessel for distributing food to Chavia women. So even although I was a baby, nilipendwa sana na kina mama hapa. I used to be loved because I used to make them eat to go home quickly. So that was a history during those days. And at that time, kama mama alikuwa ameambiwa huyu mtoto huyu baadaye ndio atakuja kununua hii biashara hapa, would anybody have believed? No. So later on we grew up. Fajal akajenga hii nyumba nyingine ya pili, ile nyingine ikawa kama store. Before Fajal died, akaambia watoto wake, sisi tumekuwa hapa Chavia kwa muda mrefu, hapo Mwatate ya Chavia, tumekuwa matajiri kutoka kwa hawa watu. Sasa mimi nikifa, mkiwa mnatoka hapa Mwatate, don't sell it to anybody other than Mtaita. Yani Fajali anaambia watoto wake, don't sell this business to anybody other than Mtaita. And not just Mtaita, but from Chavia. Can you imagine how this man, ambaye alikuwa anauzia watu chakula, na alikuwa anapatia pesa nyingi sana kununua vitu vya Chavia. Sasa anasema mimi nikifa, ikiwa kwa njia yoyote mnaamua kuuza hii biashara, msiuzie mtu yote bali muuzie Mtaita. Na huyo Mtaita kutoka wapi? Kutoka Chavia. So in 1991, 92, wakati kina Fajal, watoto wake sasa, Fajal alikuwa wamekufa, watoto wake walipokuwa wanataka kuuza ile biashara, wakaanza kutafuta Mtaita wa Chavia. Kuna watu wengi sana ambao walikuwa wanataka kununua biashara. Kuna Wakikuyu walikuwa hapo, kuna Wakamba, kuna kabila nyingi tu, na kulikuwa pia na Wataita kutoka mahali pengine. Lakini hawa watoto wakasema hapana, mzee alisema we look for Mtaita from Chavia. So Fajal, fortunately they were neighbors to Mzee Mcharo, and they walikuwa wanamjua mzee. Wakaenda kwa mzee wakasema, Mzee Mcharo, unajua sisi tunataka kuuza hii biashara. Lakini baba alisema tusiuzie mtu yeyote mwingine, bali tuuzie Mtaita ambaye ni Mchavia. Na wewe unajua Wachavia ambao wanaweza kununua hii biashara, ama wewe tunajua uko na watoto ambao wanaweza. At that time when Uncle Eliud was a NMP. So Mzee Mcharo akamwambia my brother Eliud, akamwambia hii biashara inauzwa na hawa watoto wa Fajali wanasema wanatafuta Mchavia. So fortunately Uncle Eliud was in Nairobi then. Uncle Eliud came and we discussed, and we said no, we can look for money to buy for this business. We can buy this business. Ndio tukaja nyumbani, tukakutana hawa watoto wa Fajali, tuka negotiate, then we bought those businesses. Can you imagine now? When I was young, I was being used by my mother to supply. Then nimekuja hapa, nimekuwa mtu mzima sasa, I'm going to buy the same business. Where in my young time, I was helping Taitas to whatever to get to be fed. Because that was a miracle. And then, nikakaa, because at that time I was not even served. Then sometime later, when we had come from, we stayed with Mazeras after retirement. Tulikuwa tumenunua biashara nyingine hapo Mazeras, shamba. We bought a farm in Mazeras as our retirement place. But we thought we would go and do big business, Mazeras farming. We bought a farm there where we had cuckoos. We had a lot of cuckoos, about 10,000 cuckoos. We were selling eggs, we were selling chicken. We had cows, we had pigs. So after retiring, we went to Mazeras. But then later on, we came back home. Biashara iliharibika wakati wa various issues. Tukaja Mwatate. By that time, see, my wife was saved. Alikuwa ameokoka tukiwa Nairobi. Akawa ameingia kanisa la Crisco. Tulipokuwa Mombasa, alikuwa anakwenda Crisco. Mombasa alikuwa Mazeras. Tulipokuja hapa, akajoin na Pastor Odu hapa kuendesha kanisa la Crisco hapo Mwatate. So one time Pastor Odu akaja akaniambia, mzee, tunaomba utukodeshe ile banda lako. That where the church is, was that Mabati house. Akauliza, why don't you give us this as a church to rent it for church services. So aliponiambia hivyo, I remembered one time I was talking to a pastor called Presbyter Nzinga. Nzinga is now our presbyter in Crisco. That time I was not saved, but they used to come to Mazeras. One time aliniambia, wajua Mzee Bongosa, watu wengi, nilikuwa nimemuuliza, why are so many Christians ambao mnasema mmeokoka? Kwa nini mnakuwa maskini mna hii? Mimi nilikuwa sijaokoka. Ambaye my observation, nikitazama watu wengi hapa, naona wengi ambao ni maskini ni watu ambao ni Wakristo. Na wale ambao hawajaokoka wengi ndio matajiri. Unakuta Waarabu, unakuta Wahindi, Mombasa ni watu ambao ni matajiri na hawajaokoka, hawajui Mungu. Na mimi wanasema eti katika wokovu kuna kila kitu. You know what that man of God told me? Akasema the problem with Christianity is that many of us Christians don't know God's principles. Mungu yeye anatumia kanuni zake za kubariki watu wake. And the biggest principle Mungu ambaye anatumia kwa kuwa na kubarikiwa mali ni kumtumikia Mungu, ni kutoa kwa Mungu, kumtolea Mungu. Kutoa Mungu wewe mwenyewe umtumikie, kutoa mali zako kwa baraka kwa watu. He told me that in Mazeras. So later on tulikuja Mwatate, Pastor Odu alipokuja kuniuliza hiyo, I just remembered. Mtu alisema mtu kubarikiwa ni kutoa mali zetu. Nikamwambia Pastor Odu, just go and use it. How much are we going to pay you? I said, no, I'm just giving it for free. Mtumie wakati nikiwa tayari kujenga nyumba yangu, nitamwambia mtafute mahali penu. So nilipopatia hivyo kaanza kanisa, wakaanza kufunga na kuomba for me. I did not know that time. They started fasting and praying for me, eti niokoke. Na wakati ule nilikuwa na distribute beer. Hiyo nyumba juu ilikuwa ni beer distributor ya store ya beer na kuuza pombe hapo. I used to distribute beer in Mwatate na Kundanyi area, all that area. Distributor wa Kenya Breweries. Na hapa nimewapatia kanisa la kufanya nini? La kukomesha. So wakasema, jamani, huyu mtu hajaokoka anauza pombe na ametupatia hii nyumba bure. Tutampatia nini? They started fasting and praying. My wife, Pastor Odu, his wife, and some elders in the church. Then later I got caught, I got served.
The building that you bought, did you buy the building or did you also buy land? So the land
All the land from the church up to the one where they have a small market there, mpaka uko chini that plot, and the one where the house is, mpaka uko chini, where people are.
So over here up where the hotel is,
The shop near the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought from the same. There are 3 parcels. Where the house is, where we are, where the church is, and that building. That building, that's where it will be our beer business. So we bought the 3 parcels together. Yes. So after fasting and praying for me, I got saved. So nikasema, Mungu ni mwema. Then later on we came and discussed with my family, we discussed with my wife, my children, kasema tunataka tuitoe kwa kanisa. So we all agreed as a family that we give now that building not only for now waendeshe kanisa, like tunapatia even the land. So we gave them that portion, we gave that portion to the church. As a family, we talked together, we decided, so we wrote to them saying, mimi na familia yangu tumekubaliana tupatie kanisa hii jengo pamoja na hii ardhi. So I believe some of the blessing that we're having is because we also have given some things to God. That's why if you remember, every time I say God bless us, and then we become a blessing to people. So when God blesses you, bless somebody. Yeah? As I was a blessing people when I was young by making them get food. Then God blessed me. God have given me wonderful children, wonderful grandchildren. Sindio? So tuende kwa baraka kwa watu. So after getting saved, later on then I moved to Christian Church because I wanted to know God really. The other church, I was in the church, it was mainly a religious church. I couldn't go as deep as I wanted in knowledge of God. So in Christ, I believe I've grown quite a lot. And I have been a blessing to people. Thank God also my children got saved. Na nyinyi mnajua Mungu. So kitu nawaambia kwa ni kila mmoja ajue Mungu. Na Mungu vile anavyowabariki, tunajua Mungu anatupatia akili tuzitumie. Lakini pia neno la Mungu nasema tumainia Mungu kwa moyo wako wote, wala usitegemee akili zako mwenyewe. Mungu anatupatia akili, lakini tukisema tunazitumia kwa njia zetu wenyewe, kuna wakati mwingine we can be deceived. Kuna wakati mwingine we can be diverted. Wakati mwingine unaweza kutumia hizo akili kwa njia ambayo si sawa. Because also the word of God says, njia za mtu huonekana sawa katika macho yake mwenyewe. The way of man wakati mwingine zinaonekana ni sawa tu, lakini kumbe zinakupelekea mahali ambako ni pa kuharibifu. So the best thing to do is trust the Lord and commit all your ways to him. Alafu ndio anatupeleka. Ukimpatia Mungu akili zako, yeye atakuonyesha jinsi ya kutumia akili zako kwa njia ambayo ni sawa sawa. So this 80th year of mine ni jambo la kushukuru Mungu sana. La kushukuru Mungu kwa yale yote ambayo tumepitia, yale yote ambayo Mungu ametusaidia ku-overcome, na yale yote Mungu ametusaidia kufanya kuwa baraka kwa wengine, na mahali ambapo tunaenda ni vizuri tuendelee kumtumainia Mungu. The word of God says, tufundishe kuzihesabu siku zetu. Teach us to number our days, ili tuwe na moyo wa hekima. God knows that katika safari hii ambayo Mungu tunaishi katika maisha haya, kuna mambo mengi ambayo tunayapitia. Wana wa Israeli walikuwa wanapitia hali zingine ngumu katika safari ya kwenda Canaan. Walikuwa wanapitia hali zingine ngumu sana, wakati mwingine wana-rebel, wakati mwingine wanatii Mungu, wakati mwingine wanaasi Mungu, wakati mwingine wanasema wanataka kufanana na wengine, wanakutana na maadui. But when Moses prayed to God for him to direct them, God is always merciful. So na nyinyi vile mnavyokuwa, wajukuu zangu, naomba tu muendelee kumtumainia Mungu. Simeonyesha njia na wazazi wenu. Wazazi wenu wameonyesha njia nzuri sana. They have good role models for you. So you grow to be role model to your siblings na kwa wengine huku mnapokutana, kama ni mitaani, kama ni kazini, whatever you are, make an impact, a positive impact to people. Watu waseme, jamani, kama maisha ya wokovu ni kama fulani, afadhali naokoke. You know, sometimes salvation sio eti lazima uhubiri neno la Mungu. Wewe mwenyewe ni barua tu. Watu wanakuona wasema, I wish I would be like that person. So, as I said earlier, I retired from civil service in 1994 at 50 years. So, nikiwa na retire, in my mind, I knew I'd made enough investment that I'll go and do my business, supervise my own businesses, because when you open this business in Mwatate, when you bought the properties in Mwatate, we took over the distributorship. These fellows are distributing provision to the whole of Mwatate and Mundani, sometimes even to Taveta. When I was working, I was given the business to my brothers to run for me and workers. While I was away, I was not able to supervise properly. So when nikasema nitakuja kuretire, ili ni build up the businesses. Tulikuwa tumeharibika. And nikasema nitakuja kusimamia ile farm. The farm which was in Mzee, it was a big farm. That also I'll improve it to become very profitable. I came with my own ideas that I've invested enough, I'm going to be very comfortable in retirement. But when I came to Mzee, the farm had been doing well, but not very, very well. And the biggest weakness with me is that I had taken for granted that those fellows that I would keep to run the businesses would realize that this was an opportunity for us to grow all together. I said, no, as a family, we're going to take over Mwatate. That was a vision I had. So when nitafanya business kubwa sana hii Mwatate yote, that was in my mind. Unfortunately, I had no knowledge of fulfilling that vision. I was more of a civil servant, following the procedures that were there, rather than doing business. And pengine our background, family background, was not rooted in business. None of us in the family had done any business. We were always used to being civil servants, being employed. So we would say we would excel in our civil service, in our employment, and thinking that we'll also excel in business. But business has to be, you have to learn business, you have to have knowledge. So even those that given the business to run also had no training in business. So the business didn't do well. When I went to Mzee, there were factors actually which contributed to the collapse of the farm that we had. The main one which came to as a last blow was the Kayabombo thing. The Kayabombo we used to sell pork, we used to sell meat, sell eggs to the hotels. It collapsed, and we couldn't do anything. The business started going down, but when it came, it was final. So the farm collapsed. I went to Mwatate, and Mwatate, the business was almost gone. Only the petrol station, Ajip, and the beer business. The beer business was doing fairly well, and the petrol station was doing fairly well. But while I was in Mwatate, when I'd given that building to, I think I told the story about giving that building to the church. When the building was being used as church, one time I started missing peace. Nilikuwa nakaa tu. Siku moja I just decided that I'm going to close the business. Can you imagine one time I went to the shop, I was running the beer business. One time I called my wife and told him I've decided to close this business. Big business, the beer distribution. Sima, you're closing, and what shall we eat? I was not served. I just told my wife, today we're going to close this business. Why? I said, no, I just don't feel, I have no peace. So after saying that, in about half an hour or 1 hour later, people came from Voi. There are an office in Voi, they came to Mwatate. Nikawambia, jamani, nimeamua kufunga hii biashara. Yani, it was a powerful moment. I did not even think about it. I don't know why I made that decision. Nikawambia, leo nafunga hii biashara. And the store was so full of beer. I had more than 200 crates of beer. I said, Ma, what? Mzee, are you sick? Is something wrong with your head? I said, Ma, no. My head is very sound. Kabia, now you come and take your beer here, give me my money. I said, Ma, no. Hiyo umenunua, tena nilikuwa nimenunua by overdraft. Nilikuwa na overdraft a bank guaranteed by Kenya Breweries. Ndio nilikuwa natumia kununua mafuta, ndio nilikuwa natumia kununua beer for doing the business. Akasema, lakini do you know the repercussions? Akasema, no, I'm not talking about the repercussions. I'm talking about this beer business, I'm just closing it. Sema, mzee, watu wanafanya bidii. Wewe umefanya bidii kwa sababu kuna connections zako huko Nairobi. Watu wametafuta hii hawapati. Akasema, no. Can you imagine? In one morning alone, I closed that beer business. So wakasema, kama uko serious, to report Nairobi. Nikamwambia, yes, I'm very serious. Na nataka mnipatie check yangu. Asema, no, hii beer kwa sababu umenunua, you'll have to sell it yourself. So immediately wakapiga simu Nairobi. Na mimi niko pale. Alafu kaambia na watu wa Nairobi, kama ni serious kabisa kweli, what you do, you are going to cancel that overdraft. I did not even know the repercussion here. I did not even think about it. Wakasema, you're going to cancel that overdraft ambayo ilikuwa na cover beer na mafuta. I used an agent or Ajip. We are the petrol station Ajip huko. So wakaniambia, mzee, head office wamesema sasa tupige simu kwa bank manager ndani a cancel overdraft ya biashara yako. Nikamwambia, no, me, I don't mind about this. Can you imagine, for that time now they have cancelled the overdraft. Lori ya mafuta inakuja, tanki ya mafuta inakuja. Wanapigia simu na bank wanasema, hii overdraft ya mafuta imekuwa cancelled. Na bio naambia hanipatie pesa. Wanasema nifanye vile ninavyotaka. You know, I did not even think about it. We started drinking the beer that was there. We drank beer that was inside there. With my friends, imagine. We sold a few cases, but most of it we locked ourselves there with friends and we drank over many, many days. By the time I realized what I'd done, it was total chaos, it was total mess. Everything had gone. Man. The fuel, the petrol station had closed. The beer distributorship had closed. They refused to give me the money for that. I sold to a few bars, but most of it were just drinking ourselves. Baada kunywa pombe na marafiki zangu, baadaye nikabaki peke yangu, consoling myself. Can you imagine? Then na duka hapo ndani ilikuwa karibu kuisha. So nikawa ile mpango yangu yote nilikuwa nayo ikaisha. I did not even know how to think. Mpaka wakati in fact I couldn't even pay school fees for my children. Can you imagine? I could pay school fees for Leonard, I could pay school for Frida. That is what happened. Kupanga kuwa nakwenda sawasawa, but then when I come, things are completely different from the way I had planned them. Then ndio baadaye I came to get saved. When I got saved, people were so happy. People all over, yani watu wengine ambao wa Anglican wote walikuja, wazee wote wa Anglican wote Taita nzima wanakuja kunicongratulate kusema sasa unaingia katika chama chetu cha kutendereza. Tukatendereza hapo, wa Pentecost wakaja, mabishop wakaja, kina Mzee Mkala, kina Mwatam, they came kusema mwingine anasema sasa wajua ndugu Bongosa, sasa ndio utakuwa tajiri. Hapana ule utajiri ambao ulikuwa nao, sasa ndio Mungu atakurudishia kila kitu, ndio utaona utajiri wa Mungu. I was encouraged. But immediately after that one ndio mambo yakaribika tena zaidi. Imagine watu wa Mungu anakuambia sasa Mungu ndiye atakuinua, nimeokoka, but I have a peace. Lakini there is no money. Yeah. So from that time we started struggling. It was a difficult time. 2009 up to 0023. Na zile biashara za Mwatate zilika collapse. When our business collapsed in Mwatate, all the businesses in Mwatate collapsed. All the businesses were supplying from Mwatate to Bundanye, all along the way, Dembwa, Josa, Bundanye, all of the Ruga, all the shops that were being supplied from Mwatate, they all collapsed. Very strange thing actually. Mwatate between 1999 up to about 2003 was like a ghost house, like a ghost town. And the whole town was closed. Yale maduka yote ambayo yalikuwa pale yalikuwa yamefungwa kabisa. Some mysterious things had happened. But then I think we just trusted in God. Then baadaye mambo yakaanza kurecover slowly. Baadaye tukaja kana kina Leonard hapo, tukauza Mazeras, tukapata pesa, tukaanza kufufuka sasa. So the things happen in life, vile unavyopanga, kama mpangilio yako haiko sawa sawa. You know, biashara pengine kina Leonard wanajua wale ambao wanaendesha biashara kubwa kubwa. Pasipo mpangilio wa sawa sawa, without having a true vision and following it. So I entered into business and I thought I was just going to be rich. Kumbe inapangwa. So when you're doing anything, first of all, plan. Make sure that your plans are okay and pursue your plans. Sio kusema tu kwa sababu watu wamekuwa matajiri kwa kufanya hivi, kwa hivyo na mimi nitajaribu kufanya hivyo. But started a running business, Hey. And another thing also, of course, we realize that some things also happen that can be controlled spiritually. The business we also came to learn later is that the business we're running, Asians have got their own way of running things. They've got their own gods whom they depend on. They help them in their own way and they succeed in their own way. When we started running these businesses, we did not know the way of the Asians. They thought we'd be going to Mombasa they opened a business in Mombasa. They thought we'd be going to Mombasa to get supplies from them. We didn't, and we didn't manage. So the issues that could be handled spiritually, that person we didn't know. Even when we opened the business, we would not even pray. Hakuna hata kusema baba yetu yuko mbinguni, jina lako litukuzwe, hata tumekwenda tukasema sisi tumefika tukaanza biashara. You know, we never opened it with prayer. We never opened it even officially kusema yetu njoo hapa tufungue biashara. No, I just connected those guys who are running the business, my brothers, and those guys who are running said, tuendeshe biashara. But there is somebody who is beyond our control, who controls all things that people do. And when God says he'll bless the work of our hands, you also have to have knowledge. Whether God says, watu wangu wanaangamizwa kwa kukosa maarifa. Anything you do, hata kama umeokoka ama hujaokoka, if you're doing anything with knowledge of that thing, then they succeed. But if you're entering something because people are doing it without knowledge of that thing and how that thing works, unaweza kuingia katika calamity zingine ambazo si nzuri. So of course now, as we continue trusting in God, doors are open now. Now I think I can say I'm living a good life. I'm living happily. I'm living peacefully. I've got lots of peace. I've got a peace of mind. My wife and me are living well. We have had challenges. I can say actually, mimi nimeishi maisha ambayo ni mazuri sana afya. When I was young, wakati ule ambao tunatumia na kina mama kupatia watoto kuwekwa kwa mgongo, I used to be a weakling. I was born, after some times I was attacked by measles. The measles, ukambi. Later that, I don't know. I became very sick actually. My young days, I stayed for a very long time without walking because of ukambi. So I was quite weak, and I spent some time, quite a lot of time in hospital in Universal. I did not walk for a long time. I stayed for more than an hour without walking. Baada ya hapo hiyo matatu, then Mzee was working in Kisumu municipality. That's where I walked there. So it was when I was very young that I was quite sickly. In fact, I grew very weak. Even when I was growing, I was quite small. And I took a long time to crawl and walk. But I'm told that day I woke up, I started walking. Yani sikuwezi etu nilitambaa kidogo, kutambaa tu kidogo, nikasimama nikaanza kwenda. Because that taken me a long time to walk because of measles, because of sickness. From that time, I cannot say that I became sick ya kwenda hospitali. All my young days had good health, apart ya kawaida tu ya mafua. Lakini ugonjwa wa kulala hospitalini mpaka nikakua, nikaenda shuleni, nikaanza kufanya kazi until 2020 when I had this problem ya prostate. That's the next time. From the time I was a baby, the next time I slept in hospital is when I had this prostate in 2020, when I was when I was over 70, nearly 80. The next one now is this problem now I've had recently. I had issues tumor ya jicho, which was cancerous. And then later when they screened me also, they found there was some prostate cancer just starting. I think that's the health issue that I've had. That was quite serious, but I want to thank God that with the unity of my family, my wife, my children, giving themselves to help me financially, and even standing with me praying together, and all the other friends, the church, stood with me praying for me and trusting in God. The doctors did the best. I think I got the best treatment that was ever available in this country. It was expensive, but I thank God that God also provided for us. I thank God for my wife, my children, for the unity of the family, my grandchildren. Everybody was concerned. The community was concerned. The church was concerned. My colleagues in TWCN, everybody was there for me. Now I can say I'm healthy. On this birthday, I can say I'm healthy. Hii jisho iko haina shida. Hii jisho imepona. Na afya imerudi sawa na kulaga ugali nishibe kabisa. Yeah. So that's one thing that I really thank God for. Kwa hivyo hii miaka yangu ya 80 ni jambo la kumshukuru Mungu kwa umbali huu ambao umetuleta kuenda pamoja na yeye, pamoja na wale ambao washirika pamoja na mimi. We've got a very strong family, the Mcharo. The Mcharo family is a very strong family. We are very united. Our children are very strong. They care for us. And trusting in God is a combination of a lot of factors that have made us to be what we are. And I'm looking forward also to many more days, healthy days, serving God. By the way, I am now a pastor in the church. I am a pastor in Crisco Fellowship Church in Motate. And Pastor Odu is my pastor. I'm serving under him as pastor. And we are blessed. So as we give ourselves to God, we want to get God's assurance. We want to believe that God's assurance for us is that he has the best for us. So, tuendelee kumshukuru Mungu. Hii miaka ambayo mimi nimefika, tulisema tujifunze kuhesabu siku zetu, ndio tunasema tuitae marasimio. We count our blessings, what God has done for us. There are a lot of shortcomings in our lives. But yet God is so merciful. God is so, he'll always be there for us. Yeye hawezi kusahau ile mtu ambaye anaita jina lake. Kwa vile mnavyokuwa, pia nawatakia miaka nyingi kunishinda yangu mimi. Si ndio? Mpaka Yesu akuje.
Where did the Mazera's farm go?
Mazera's farm, I sold it to Uncle Leonard. It is there. Ile Mazera's farm iko, lakini tulikubaliana kwa yeye ndio nitampatia aendeshe.
And I still have the animals.
Animals? No. He doesn't have any animals now. He's got a few people doing a few things. Yeye ndio nimemwachia afanye development, afanye anavyotaka.
Any questions, guys?
How old is the house in Chavia?
That was Morgongo. We entered that house we completed in 1987. So it's, unajua kufanya hesabu. Unajua kufanya hesabu.
So I heard you guys say Auntie Chari is 1 year older than the house.
Yes. And Auntie Wanjala was born in 1988. That house was built, was occupied in 1987.
So she's 1 year younger.
She's 1 year younger than that building.
So it means it's 38. It's 38 years.
Ndio sababu nasema hivyo. 87, so 97, 207, 217. How many years are those?
30 years.
30, then 38, 39, 40, 41, 42.
42 years.
47.
37. Can you tell us 38? Don't tell her that. But she told us she's 38.
Yeah, so Are you happy with me?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm happy, but I have a couple more.
Yes.
The first one is, what are the top core values that you've lived by? Because getting to 80 is not you just don't live. There are principles that you live by. or are they just mentioning them and maybe talk a little bit on how those guided your life?
Remember, I told you when we were very young, our mother used to say, don't ever lie. Being truthful in life is a it is a virtue that is not very common. I said I may have said I've told a few lies here and there, but basically I get a lot of conviction when I tell lies. So I like to live truthfully as much as possible. I like helping people where I can, and I think in our lives we have helped a lot of people in the community. Anytime we are home, when we are here, even when we are there, anytime anybody would have a problem, would come to us. And most of the time, I will be in the forefront in helping our community around, and even the community, because I think people trust us. People trust that when we give them our word, then we will not normally lie. We will fulfill what we say. So ile kuwa na ile integrity ya kusema no, nitafanya hivi na kukataa kufanya maovu. I think that has been a big virtue in the family, and the way I look at life is I feel extremely hard to hurt somebody. That's why sometimes people can take advantage of me, because Mzee Bongosa hata ukimkosea pengine hata revenge. You know, I'll give you an example of my property in Mwatate. You know, we've got some squatters there. It's been very difficult for me to go and bring a bulldozer to remove them. But these are fellows, you know, you live with them. Ni watu wa nyumbani, wanakaa hapo katika property yako. I've got the right to go and bulldoze them. Unfortunately, sometimes it turns against you because of the law. Yet I'll feel so difficult, I'll feel it's almost impossible to say, wacha nakuja kuwaondoa hawa watu. Some of those things that compassion ya kutotaka kufanya watu vile mambo ambayo hutaki watu wakufanyie. Kama sitaki mtu anivunje mguu, I'd find it very difficult to vunja somebody's mguu. This kind of thing. Another problem is that I trust people too much. As I told you, which has been quite hurting for me, especially in business. Yeah. You trust somebody that mtafanya hivi pamoja, kumbe malengo yake ni tofauti sana vile mmekubaliana. Yeah.
Okay. Another one. You are sitting here with your grandchildren. Some maybe 8, some 20, some 23, or something like that. What advice would you give to yourself in those ages? So in age 10, in age 20, and age 30. So those 3 age levels.
No, my grandchildren, and I think I've told this several times, they've had an environment to do the best in life, to excel. The environment is there, the role models are there. Ourselves as me and the grandmother, as the grandparents, they have seen the way we have lived. They've seen the way the parents have lived. They've seen the successes that we have achieved. They've seen the successes that their parents have achieved. Our children, fortunately, are doing even better than ourselves, which is something to really thank God for. So they've got all the opportunities to excel. They have the opportunity to go to the best schools. They've got the opportunity to go to know God. So whatever is available for them to be the best anywhere, So, but of course, you know, the choice belongs to them. As they grow, hawa wadogo wadogo tunawaambia, lakini wakifika kama hivi, unaita generation ipi? They've got their own mind. Of course, sometimes we disappoint them because unazaa wazee hawa hii mambo wanafanya ni because our mindset is completely different from theirs. The way we grew up, from the time we were young, it's almost dark ages. Almost dark ages when we were growing up, because it was actually dark ages. Hapo ndio wakoloni, ndio missionaries walikuwa nakuja, ndio tunaanza mambo ya koloni. There was a lot of hii mambo tu ya kawaida ya kienyeji, ambao kulikuwa hakuna knowledge, hakuna mambo mengi. Tulipoanza kwenda shule ndio tunaanza tu, you see. From that time we were young up now, it is a short time, but we move so fast. Hawa wamezaliwa katika hiyo age ambayo everything is available, knowledge is available, knowledge of good and evil. If they want to become evil, they can do it, because they have access to evil things. They have access to good things. Sasa vile tumewakuza sisi, wana opportunity ya ku excel. But of course sometimes mtu anaweza kwenda mind ikawa deviated. So we'll always tell them, we've given them the opportunities, they've seen us excel well. We also pray for them. We encourage them to know God. Not only go to church. You know, you can go to church yet you don't know God. So ndio tunaambia Mungu amewabariki kwa kuwa na opportunities. Hold them, and we thank God that we see them now growing well. Hawa wadogo hawa wanaona wenzao wanavyofanya, na kitu ambacho nimeona kuwa ukiona vile watu wanafanya, ukifuata ule ukiuga ile njia, pia unafanikiwa. Kama vile tunaona mzee akifanya. Our father was a dedicated man. He didn't go to school much because of education. Our father actually went to school. He had an opportunity to go to further education in Mombasa. But his father, because he didn't care about education, he curtailed him. But then he brought himself up through correspondence, akijijenga mwenyewe education. So we saw him growing as a father. And I think I've said this many times, have a father figure in the house, in our home, is extremely important for children. Children who can see their fathers do well, the fathers who are responsible in the home, generally they become responsible people. And I believe this, I've seen them, they've seen us the way we've been, because we encourage them. They have access, of course, to counsel. Beginning, some of us don't know how to counsel much, but we know how to pray for them. Au sio mabwana? Na mabibi.
Nadhani nimemaliza. Kabisa itakuwa, what brings you the most joy in life?
The most joy, salvation, of course, got me the biggest joy. But being together with my family like this, it's really joyful. When I'm together with my family, we chat together. When I'm together with my family, I chat together just like my friends. My children, my grandchildren, we chat very freely. They ask me any question they want, I ask them any question they want. I think those barriers are no longer there. Ama kuna yote hapa anaogopa kuniuliza maswali. And one thing, of course, we have not learned to be cruel to them. A child can apparently be cruel to a child who is mischievous. But a parent can decide to chat with that child. And that child, I think, should feel better loved than when anakaripiwa. Maana mtoto ukimwendea kwa kiboko, mtoto kupiga mtu, kuchapa mtoto si kibaya. Lakini ajue kwa nini anachapwa. Akielewa kwa nini anachapwa, lakini usimchape kumuumiza, kumchape kumfundisha. Unfortunately, I've not known how to beat much. Our father was a very strange man. Our father would never beat us, but we'd never think of wronging him. because he was a true father. Doing things wrong to him, if you hey, sasa nikifanya hivi mzee atafikiri vile. That alone, will make somebody say I would like to do good things. Unaweza kuwa mischievous huko nje, lakini ukiingia nyumbani. I used to drink a lot. I would drink much, a lot of drink, alcohol. But I've never went to my father while I was drunk. Can you imagine? I told you that. I never went to my father while I was drunk. Yet he would hear, kina Bongosa wako chini hapo Matate. Hao wazee vijana wamekuja usiku kutoka Nairobi wanalewa mpaka wanaenda usiku. But I would never go to his house. I would go to him when I'm sober. So that was a father to us. I hope that these children of us look wanatuzama sisi kama baba vile tulikuwa tunatuzama baba.
Don't burn. I'm curious.
Is a bomb?
I'm 47 now.
Yes.
And I know you mentioned at some point when you were doing the beer distribution business, your conscience was really eating you up. Your conscience, you lost your peace, and then you decided, you're done with the business, the beer distribution. Of course, I'm sure that the prayers were working behind that, that particular decision at the time. But I'm just curious to understand if you had to give, another piece of advice to this young generation today, or even someone like us. How would you, do you think that maybe you would have done some of the decisions like, accepting Christ or receiving Christ, or following his ways much younger? Like, if you had another chance today, just hypothetically, how would you live that differently? I'm asking this question because I want to understand at what point did your priorities change? Because I think for some of us, we're grappling with that.
Yeah, I think my acceptance of Christ, my getting saved, has changed a lot of things the way that I am. Because as I said, business, I had a mind to do big business. My problem was the knowledge of how to do it. I want to believe if I had been saved, I don't think I would be thinking the way I was thinking that time. I would not be taking things for granted. Because as you get to know the word of God more and more, you get direction. I said I was too trusting in business. In business, it should not be an issue of trusting. It's an issue of doing things the way they're supposed to be done. I trusted my brothers. It was damaged. It nearly, in fact, the businesses nearly destroyed our family. Because my brothers' wives started blaming me for letting their husbands leave their jobs to do business with me. Because I thought it was a big business, I wanted to become rich with my brothers. This is the kind of my mindset I had. I don't want to be successful alone. I wanted us to be rich. I told them, here's big business, we're going to be rich. Why are you getting yourself a small job in County Council or wherever you are? Why don't you come and do here? We become rich, all of us as a family. But I did not know how to. I just thought I'll give it to these fellows, they know how to run a business. You see? And that caused a lot of chaos. At some point, we had a very, very hostile meeting. Wewe ndio umechangia waume zetu wakaacha kazi zao, sasa biashara yako imekufa. But when I got saved, we forgave them. I just know, I forgive you because it was my fault, and that I did not prepare myself for this business, and I did not prepare you for the business. And now we're very good friends. But salvation, in salvation, and you get to know, salvation, we can get saved. But if you get saved and you don't even know God, you can be saved, but you just know God because you have accepted Christ. Like if you know God through the teaching of the Word of God and guided by the Holy Spirit, there are a lot of things that can do completely different from the way you would have done them in other circumstances. That's why I tell my children, we can't force them to get saved. But we tell them, no, we show them this is the right way. So kila moja afanye nini maamuzi yake mwenyewe. Because salvation can never be forced on somebody. So salvation has to be, somebody has to believe. What you do is you give the Word of God, or you show by your own way, the way we live. Asema, hey, huyu kweli akisema ameokoka, vile ameokoka. Mnasema, ai, wokovu kama na yule, afadhali kae. Na tumeokoka. So the transformation must come from inside. When it is manifested outside, then can be able to help people. Lakini biashara, unajua biashara si kuna njia zake. Na Mungu atabariki yule amaendeshe biashara kama anaendesha kwa njia sawa sawa. Because see, God has got his own principles of living. Kama nikaendesha biashara kama hujui njia, hata kama umeokoka, unaanguka na biashara kwa vipi. Lakini kufuata zile principles za Mungu kuendesha biashara, you succeed. That's why sometimes, sometimes you get excited. Unaokoka kusema, jamani mimi nimeokoka hapa nikanunua gari. Some will come and shake their heads. Kuna watu wangapi wana magari. So these are things that happen in life.
I have a few questions. The first one is, in your 8 years of living, have you ever had any regrets, or do you have any regrets right now? And if you had an opportunity to, what would you change in your past life, in your life? Yeah.
No, I think the regrets I have is all the investment I did and I wanted to do, I did them without knowledge. As you say, would have been among the top business people in the world, here in Taita, even possibly in Kenya, all the things that were planned. But because we went them blindly, we went to them without knowledge. You see, all the investment we had in mortality was a big one. The Fajels were extremely rich. So I just assumed that we are going to be rich. So anything you're doing in life, first of all, find out how does it work. If you can find out how it works, and then you follow the way it works, then you succeed. But you'll always regret when you do some things in ignorance. Knowledge is, somebody was saying in Christianity, knowledge is the master key to the keys of the kingdom. Knowledge ndio inafungua kila kitu, hata kama ni biashara, kama unajua ufahamu kuendesha biashara, alafu zile pesa zako tunafanya. But we do a lot of things. In fact, hapa kwetu ndio kitu kingi. Can I tell a little story? Something from, I think I told you sometime. In Taita, we have very rich resources. So Taita kuna utajiri mwingi sana. The main resources, the minerals, you can do livestock, you can do tourism, a lot of things. Yet we are so poor. Why? Because of lack of knowledge. We have resources, we say yes, we have good resources. We don't even know how to transform that resources into wealth. So there's something we say, siichi. Siichi, you know how to teach, David? Sijui. I have no knowledge. So, angu siichi kwa sababu sijui sina. Siwadie. So you have no knowledge, then you don't have. Ikakaswadie sidimaga. You become a disabled person. That's the mind, that's the attitude we have here. We have siichi kwa uswadie. Sijui kwa hivyo sina. Kwa sababu sina, siwezi. Kwa sababu siwezi, sikunde. And sikunde means stuck, actually ikae tu. So we find our people are just here, we find young people around, there are plenty of young people educated, but yet their minds they don't know anything. So because they don't know anything, they have nothing. Because they have nothing they can do, they are disabled. Because they are disabled, say, it's an apathetic situation. So ukiwa na ufahamu, ni vizuri kufanya kile kitu ambacho kunacho ufaulu. Kifaulu sasa utakuwa na vitu. Ukiwa na vitu unaweza kufanya mambo. Alafu unabarikiwa. Lakini hii situation ya kwetu hiyo ambayo I've just been learning around with people here. Unakuta watu wako na education, lakini unasema mpaka niko na kazi. Mpaka apate kazi, ako na shamba. Hata hajui kuwa unaweza kulima hiyo shamba ikakupatia hata kama ni mhogo. Sisi kama tate, hii shamba yetu hatufanyi kazi hapa. Mfanyi kazi tu ndio. Kuna chakula hapo Dantel. Ukienda kukuta ndizi ziko tayari, ukienda kukuta cassava iko pale, utakuta makaji yako hapo, unakuta maharagwe iko. Na sisi hapa tunalima. Kwa hiyo tumekuja kuambia fanya hivi na hivi na hivi. Look at the neighboring shambas. Na sisi tunafanya kazi hapo. So people are hungry, people are saying hakuna chakula. Just because Are we okay?
Yeah. Another question I have is, here how we are as your grandkids. What advice would you give us? Because we've seen how today how we're living. Most families they're not as close, or they end up going their separate ways. What advice would you give us as siblings? Because here we take each other as siblings, not cousins. So what advice would you give us as siblings?
There is a lot of selfishness. Yani me. You know, when I was growing up, it was almost everything was a communal. Kila kitu kwa na share. Like when we are living here, everybody would share everything together as a family. Whenever I have good information, I'll tell my brother. When there's an opportunity, you'll give somebody else. Like it's easy. There's so much we've personalized our own selves. Not even sharing information, even sharing, even if it's a small blessing. Hata kula pamoja kwenyewe inakuwa ni nguvu. But you say, no, these are my cousins, as I was telling you, when we're growing up together, they'd go to Koleleshwa, Uncle K, Uncle Eliud. Everybody would be there. If see Uncle K, everybody would go, and where there's food there, you eat. Yeah? But this thing is very difficult these days, because we've become so selfish, we've become so personal. Kila kitu mimi na familia yangu tu, mimi na mtoto wangu. Yeah? Ukiona mtoto wako pengine na share na mtu mwingine, sema hawa watu hawa. See, so that openness, that trying to reach out to somebody, achana na yeye. Lakini kumwona anaenda vibaya, mwambie unajua dadangu, hii mambo unafanya hivi si vizuri. Lakini sio unamwonyesha kama kwa upendo. Upendo is giving yourself to somebody else. Upendo is Yesu alikuwa anasema kama vile nilikuwa nawapenda na nyinyi pia mpendane. Anasema kujitoa kwake yeye kwa wengine, that is true love. True love si tu nakupenda. while there's no action. True love is followed by action, positive action towards somebody else. So kuna ubinafsi mingi sana siku hizi. Ubinafsi, watu wanataka kuishi maisha peke yao. So that's why you go and get your neighbors, you don't even know them. So even families have become like that. Families have become kila mtu na kama naona mimi naweza kujitoshelezea. If I'm self-sufficient, I don't want to bother about what happens to my next relative.
So, Gen Zs wengi wanaogopa kitu moja. Guess what? Marriage. That's one of the states that baffles a lot of young people. So maybe a word or two from you on that topic.
Well, they wanaogopa responsibilities. Marriage is a commitment. It is a responsibility you commit yourself to. And the problem, of course, because of the nature of life these days, we've been so much influenced by external influences, especially mambo ya Western. It's come so much to us that now we are craving to be like them. Now with them, hii mambo yao ya family life ilisha kitambo. That is what God created, really. It is not good. It is not good for a man to live alone. The time reaches that that we need to be somebody. Sasa hiyo commitment ndio watoto siku General Z siku hizi ambao General Z wanataka kuiepa hiyo. Hapo anasemaga nikimoa atakula nini? Marriage is also giving us one to one another. For your mother and your father to be together, kila moja lazima ajue nafasi yake. A mother can never be equal to a father. It is impossible. There is no equality in mothers and fathers. They are born differently. They are born with different roles. And those roles are intertwined to make a marriage complete. Sindio? Wewe unatoka kwenu, unakuja kwa watu. Unakutana hapo, mtu hata tabia tofauti kabisa. But then a marriage must be built. It does not come automatically. It does not come by prayer. It does not come by wishing. No. A marriage is worked on. And especially a man has got a big responsibility over his family. A man is supposed to be the founder of a family. A man is supposed to be a provider. A woman is supposed to receive from a man. Kama zamani, lakini siku hizi wajua wanawake, kuna kazi ni sawa sawa. But when a woman gets married and the man is lazy, I always tell you when I'm together with other people, young people, a girl getting married is from her father. Sindio? She has left her father and mother. She's coming to meet a man. She expects to get a father figure at where she comes. So now unajua hivi inafanya katika kanisani. Kanisani mtu anakuja na babake na mamake. Are you married? That's what will happen when you get married. If you marry in church, you get married in church. Babako anakuja na mamako, sio? Wanakupeleka hapo kwa hapa na wanakupeleka mbele. And then what does the father do? He hands over the girl to another man, to a boy. The father has handed her to a person who is supposed to be a father figure to her. Sasa kisha akikuta a boy, she may come and find a boy in the home. Then she takes over, and then the marriage cannot where a girl comes and becomes the head of the family. Things can't work. It's not that they don't want. They don't find boys who are not ready to become heads of a family. So whenever a boy is getting married, get proper counsel from successful marriage people. Don't get counsel from another failure. Because if you go getting counsel from a friend who's not married, hana your experience. Lakini sasa kama wewe, I don't think there's any girl who deliberately want to rebel. You can get a rebellious person, but if you get a man that is properly ready to get married, and a man getting married, you must work. Si ndio Mungu alifanya hivyo? God created work before giving him a woman. God created man and gave him work and the job of protection. A man is supposed to work and protect his environment, protect his family. Lakini siku hizi tunakuta nini? Unakuta mama ndio mkali kuliko baba. When that happens, then you destabilize creation story. So my granddaughters get married and get good men. Men who are responsible. Upon a man, you rule over them. No. You get men that you can submit to. Loving, you see, loving, as I say, loving is a man who will give you what you need. A man who is working, she'll give you food, she'll provide for you, but then you help him. And a helper is not a weak person. A helper is a strong person. How vipi? Can you get a helper who is weak? They're not a helper. A person who will move with you. Ambaye zile kazi zako unafanya za kuprovide, yuko hapa na mnasaidiana. A woman, regardless of how educated she is, regardless of how much money she's earning, akikuta mwanamume ambaye ni baba, wanaishi vizuri tu. Are we okay?
How come people say that fathers, the fathers are not supposed to give their daughters the land?
The what?
The land. Your father is supposed to give you the land.
You don't be given land by your father?
How come it's supposed to be your mother, not your mother? Your father, not your mother?
Oh, normally, traditionally ya Kiafrika na Kitaita, traditionally the land is owned by a man. The father, the men are normally the ones. In the clan, the land belongs to the clan. And the clan belongs to the men. The wives are brought. So you see, in Taita with Dagoraga, when you get married to our home, okumuni mka wa nganya. You are a wife to where you are married. A man is called mdoa nganya. A girl is called mfua nganya. So when you are Mshavia and you are married to Busi, you are called Mkawa Busi. Ndio? You are called Mkawa Busi. So the land normally belongs to the clan. And the clan is Veninganya. Veninganya is the men of that area. Veninganya does not include the women. Vefubanganya, like this, Vefubamcharo are daughters of Mcharo. And Mcharo is the sons. But now the law now, the Kenya Constitution guarantees even daughters to own land. Yeah? Previously it was not like that, but now the law itself guarantees that any man who has land will share even to his daughters. Like my daughters, I've given them portion of my land as a good father.
And can a grandfather give the granddaughter land? Or
If you want. Yes, a grandfather can give inheritance to our children's children, including the granddaughters.
And who gives the sons the land?
The son is the father.
No, the father gives the daughter and again gives the son.
Yes, you can divide now. You can divide, or if you've got several pieces of land, you can give one piece to another one, a daughter, and another piece to a son. Or you can subdivide. Like our land in Manoa, I subdivided my land in there. I gave a portion to my sons. I gave some portions to my daughters.
And how come siblings end up fighting for one farm?
For
one farm?
For one farm, because of selfishness. Remember what I said? Ukiwa unajiona wewe ndio unastahili kuwa nacho bila yeye. It is lack of proper communication in the family as you grow. See, when you grow up and if your father is wise enough to give direction on how his property should be shared, then it should not normally bring problems. But the problem that if your father dies and leaves the properties unallocated, sometimes because of lack of communication among the siblings, it may bring some problems. They may start fighting. So you can go now.